Welcome back to BLOCKTV, and you're watching BLOCKTV Bites, where we get to hyper-focus on one aspect of the cryptosphere and break it down a bit. So of the many use cases for blockchain, a true reality and space in which blockchain can have an immediate impact is philanthropy. To tell us more about this, we are joined by the head of the Binance Charity Foundation, Helen Hai. Hi, Helen.
Hi.
It's great to have you on today. So can you just explain to us a bit what exactly is the Binance Charity Foundation?
So basically, Binance Charity Foundation, we have a mandate to use blockchain and cryptocurrency technology for social good. So that is the summary of what we do. And then we can elaborate further later.
Okay, so yeah, so if we're kind of going into it a bit, what is the goal of the foundation? What are you guys looking to do?
I just told you, is to use blockchain and cryptocurrency for social good. And the question is why actually we need to do this? Because first of all, let's look at it. Post-Second World War, globally, there's about 200 developing economies in the world. But then in reality, only 2 economies moved from lower income status to high income status. And then only 13 of them moved from middle income status to high income status. And those countries' economic transformations actually are due to the second industrial revolution, which is based on manufacturing. And then that's what happened between 60s and 80s. And then what happened between the 80s afterwards, which is the last 30, 40 years, where's the third industrial revolution globally. People like you and me were celebrating the technological advancement. But at the same time, if I'm looking at global development, 1% of the global population is holding 90% of the global wealth. So in a way, the world didn't become a better place. Today, before we're talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency, after all, it's a technology. It should actually create values for the human beings. So for Binance, we realize it's very important, being the industry shapers, we have a duty and a responsibility on day one, except to celebrate the further technological advancement of blockchain and cryptocurrency. We need to think how to use blockchain for social good, particularly use blockchain to help the people in the bottom billion people, to helping them on their economic transformation. And this is why we set up the Binance Blockchain Charity Foundation, which we want to, on day one of the fourth industrial revolution, being an industry shaper to drive the technology into more value creation for the whole population.
But what you were just referring to is exactly the issue within the crypto sphere, within this space, is that it's an ideology. It was a technology built out of an ideology that isn't being used in the way it was intended. And what's happening now, I would say, I mean, we saw this in the recent hearings, right? Everybody's talking about the unbanked. How are you helping the unbanked? And nobody really knows how to answer that yet. But part of your project, you guys are working on in Uganda. You have a little project going on there, but we do have a little video from your site, and we'd like to show that before we ask more questions and ponder about it. So let's take a look.
Why don't you go to school? Why do you feel ashamed to meet others? Why did you get married at the age of 14? Why did you become a mother at the age of 15? Why are you dying?
I'm on my period.
You may never realize all the freedom that you enjoy today are given by these sanitary pads. Sanitary pads have a history of over 100 years. Today, however, over 2 million girls worldwide are unable to afford it. In Africa, 1 out of 10 girls drop out of school due to period poverty.
So that's kind of a little taste of what you guys are doing in Uganda. I wonder, though, are you familiar with the PAD project?
Not really.
So it's actually, it's based off of, this whole project led to a documentary called Period End of Sentence. And it's kind of this idea, right, that a girl's period should end a sentence and not necessarily end her education. And as you guys kind of are referring to in this video. So can you break down, please, what the Binance Charity Foundation is doing in Uganda right now?
Okay. First of all, when I just early on, I think you just mentioned a very important point, which you talk about ideology. I think you are very right. That's why we realize being an industry shaper, what kind of responsibility we should do basically is we realize the last mile solution is the most important thing. At this stage in the industry, we don't lack of people talking about great ideas, but we really lack people on the ground working on the last mile solutions and creating quick, successful examples. Because for the whole industry to develop, we fully believe quick, successful examples, action is louder than words, is the best way to bring inspiration, leadership, confidence, and experience to the industry. This is why we realize in order to make a difference, for blockchain, there has to be somebody to go into the last mile of the most rural area, working with locals to jointly developing a solution which they believe is workable for them. So that is what is needed. So I mean, with this question in mind, what actually the journey we started since we formed the foundation last year? Before even I agreed with CG to take on being the head of the foundation, I said to CD, you have this great idea, use blockchain crypto for social good, but I want us to actually hear from the end beneficiary. Would they welcoming this? So what actually happened? And this is the first question I'm going to answer. Why did we pick Uganda? And then later I will elaborate actually why did we pick the pink hair token. So why Uganda? The question is, we did not actually pick Uganda. It was Uganda who picked us. So actually, when CZ asked me to head up the Blockchain Charity Foundation, I said to CZ, let's go to Africa. I want to hear from the leaders, African leaders, the end beneficiary. How would they feel about blockchain, about cryptocurrency? So CZ and I actually met the president of Uganda. And then the president is 74 years old. And then he clearly, he's not very technological savvy. During the 30 minutes meeting, he asked very basic questions like, what is cryptocurrency? Today, why we need US dollar notes, things like that. And after we answered those simple questions, he was silent for 5 minutes. And then he looked at CZ and me and he said, listen, CZ and Helen, today, African countries have a choice. We have a choice actually to determine our development model, and we have a choice to pick up the partner. And I think in the fourth industrial revolution, African countries, Ugandans, we should not be followers anymore. We should also becoming leaders. That is why I'm now inviting you to come to my country to work with us to see how we can use blockchain and cryptocurrency to help our people. This is actually the reason why we go to Uganda. So actually we didn't, look at the map saying we go to Uganda. We are being invited by the president to working with them, trying to shape on the technology. And then you ask me whether I actually did a lot of research on what the project we do. One of the things is actually, I would say, we actually want to listen to the local people. When we first went there, we asked the government, what is the most thing we can support to the people? The first thing actually they told us is a lot of children, education is very important, but we have so many children go to school with empty stomach. They have actually no way to enjoy the education. Can you actually help us to feed those kids? So actually, early this year, we launched a Binance Lunch for School project. Actually, we offered, thousands of children, on a free lunch, using cryptocurrency, which supported them. And then I'm really proud we have a very committed team from Binance Charity Foundation. Our team members graduated from Yale, like LAC top graduates, from university. They took a heavy pay cut salary and joined the foundation. And then they're fully committed, have been working in Africa in the past 6 months. And it is because their time locally, they talk to the girls in the schools and talk to the teachers. And then actually this pink hair tokens is initiated by those girls by talking to them, because we ask them, now we helped you to go to school with actually a freelance project. What do you need more? And actually, the one you show in the video is exactly the problem they told us. They told us, we've never used tampons. We, like during period time, they told us their sufferers and also their sisters, died because the sanitary issues. And this is actually made us realize we have to do something about it. And that's actually the beginning of the Pink Hair Token project.
Right, so now you're kind of speaking about this from a macro level, and with that aspect, I would argue that we're in great need of education in this industry in general, but then kind of to the average Joe, right? I don't have the backing Binance has, neither does the average Joe. How can we, even through the Binance Charity Foundation, us average Joes, again, I'm reiterating, get involved and help on the level that you guys are doing? Because we can't do it on a grand scheme. So what is the micro aspect that we can bring in through the Pink Hair Token, for example? How can I help through cryptocurrency? How can I, as an average person, join in this fight and create a positive change?
So it's very simple. Today, the average girl, as human beings, we all have compassion. We want to do something actually for somebody else. But the question is, when talking about charity, first of all, do you really trust the existing charity system? Actually, the answer, particularly from the younger generation, the average Joe, a lot of people say, I don't trust it because why give my money to charity donation? The money didn't go into that poor girl in Africa. Maybe the third-party angel used my money to pay for the business class ticket or maybe pay for a 5-star hotel. So that is the issue, and that is the problem we're trying to solve here, because the fundamental blockchain and crypto, the thing is, there is a transparent system and making sure your contribution can directly to the end beneficiary. That is why we built the Binance charity platform, which everybody, the average Joes, you can use it. And then it's very calculated. It costs less than $4, per year to help a girl in Uganda to change that girl's life. For you and me, it's a cost of a sandwich. We can just put it on blockchain, and then we can see that actually money went directly to the end beneficiary. This is actually the first layer. We support a girl with $4 directly to support the humanitarian need. And then even in-depth layer, during this process, the most powerful thing is we actually give that girl, and also the whole value chain, a crypto wallet. Because the bottom billion, like what we discussed earlier on, they're being excluded in the existing financial system. In my personal opinion, I don't think crypto is going to replace fiat 100%. But crypto, first of all, should become a very powerful tool to complement the current fiat system. And then why we started with the bottom billion. If I'm looking at the 7.6 billion population globally, the current bottom billion people that are being excluded in the existing financial infrastructure, they don't even have a bank account. So the first thing in this project, like what we are doing with Pink Hair Token, Lunchable project, we're empowering all the people in that far away in Africa. We're giving all of them a crypto wallet. When they have a crypto wallet, this is a basic weapon for their economic transformation. They can actually start also, this could become a very powerful thing for them also in the future to solve remittances, to deal with financial inclusion.
And then last of all, continue.
Yeah, I want to go back what I said. This we have to be recognized today. Blockchain technology and crypto is very similar to internet in the 80s. And frankly, I don't think, the solution we developed today is going to be the ideal solution 20 years later. This is very much like in the 80s, nobody think about iPhone. The technology is still looking for application. But I think the duty, the role we actually serve at this stage, we bring in an inspiration. The project we are doing in Pink Hair Token, we want to inspire more developers and more people coming into the industry to looking at actually the average Joe. I can do something, today for people far away from on the other part of the world. genuinely using the blockchain technology.
Yeah, so you were touching on kind of, I mean, I think this whole conversation has kind of been you giving your fight for why blockchain is the correct technology for philanthropy. You're right, people do not trust the current systems. They say, why should I donate? I don't know where that money ends up going. And the blockchain does have that unique aspect that, that allows for people to be sure of where their money is going, to be able to check it and everything. But so you were recently invited to the Warren Buffett charity lunch that unfortunately ended up not happening. We know there was a lot of drama surrounding that. But in your invitation acceptance tweet to that Buffett charity lunch, you said that you're excited about discussing crypto and philanthropy. Did you kind of have, because Warren Buffett is a notorious blockchain Bitcoin hater. Did you have a plan for how to convince this notorious crypto hater that the Binance Charity Foundation way is the right way and that crypto is the future?
So first of all, I think I respect everybody has their opinion. So I don't think I have a particular plan to convince them, but I certainly have a few questions I want to ask. First off, the first question I want to ask, being a successful investor, clearly for Warren Buffett, what he would see differently for cryptocurrency, would make him to invest. So I want to see his Christmas wish list, to making crypto being invested for him, what is lacking. So that is my first question I want to ask him. And my second question, actually, I want to ask him, what is Warren Buffett's view about human nature? Whether he believes, human nature, we all, is it good or is it bad or is it mixed? I want to hear his point of view, because I want to go back to the fundamental about blockchain technology, because I think since, the social contract being formed, actually, individual person will exchange our freedom with the government, trying to get certain protection. That's actually from Rousseau's social contract. But then today, I think the issue we realize in our human evolvement, whatever the process where we're looking for a good society, whether it's a liberty or is it communist or is it efficiency, capitalism, community, there's always flaws when humans running it. This is why with the fourth industrial revolution, we're in a year we need to combine human with actually a machinery combination that we're going forward. In a way, blockchain is a technology, it's a remedy to solve the fundamental trying to put in a certain discipline for the structure human created. That is why the transparency is so powerful. So actually, I want to share with him why the fundamental believers, millions of people believing in blockchain, because actually we understand this basic level of the human nature. So I want to discuss this level of discussion about philosophy, about human nature with him. And last, also I want to share with him, the concrete successful example. Because even though Warren Buffett, he's not a big fan of crypto at all, but he's clearly has a big heart for philanthropy, for charity. So I want to show him some figures exactly you mentioned, the current flaws of transparency. And also I want to show him the concrete, successful examples we're running in Uganda. And I want to hear his feedback and also his suggestions.
That's very interesting, Helen. It's a very interesting point of view to see how kind of he would react to those things and how he would take them. Hopefully that happens soon, and there's a rescheduled date, and then we'll be able to see what ends up happening out of that discussion in general. Thank you very much, Helen Hai, head of the Binance Charity Foundation, for joining us at BLOCKTV today. It's been a pleasure. For all of you folks out there, keep watching BLOCKTV.com for more cryptocurrency and blockchain-related news.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.